and therefore clarifies its divine teachings. So when Jesus comes to us, and this is out of the book In the Way of Light, or The Way to the Light, that Emmanuel brings to us through Chico Javier, he tells us that before Earth existed, there are entities in this constellation, Christs, spirits that have achieved the biggest evolution possible for us, that they gathered together and they decided that Earth would be created. And at that point, Jesus was in charge of creating this planet. We can find this in the book that Emmanuel gave to Chico, called In the Way of Light. So we're talking about 4.5 billion years ago. Jesus was already a perfect spirit, and he was in charge of this planet. And he started building this planet from scratch. And everything that we see here today, all the things that we see in this planet, is because Jesus created, not specifically himself doing the work, but through all the people, all the spirits that works with him. So with that, with Spiritism symbolizing the third revelation of law, and that was promised by Jesus himself at one of the last times he gathered together with his apostles. He told them that he was going to ask God to send the Consoler, because not everything that he said would be understood, and at the time that the Consoler would come, it would clarify things and bring more information to us. So we have here a spirit that 4.5 billion years ago, or more than that, because Earth, more or less 4.5 billion years, was already perfect, whereas already among the spirits that we call Christs, or the perfect spirits. And he came to us to bring his message of love, his message of how can we live our lives in a better way, and walk towards God, walk towards the understanding of the laws in a way that is not so burdensome and heavy. So let's talk about Moses and his law, right? And I took some notes here that I'm gonna share with you guys. So Moses' legislation is full of legends and cruelties compatible with the times. Like I said, at the time of Moses, people there were very untenable, right? Proof of that is that when Moses went to the mountain and received the 10 Commandments, right after that, when he came down, the first thing that he sees is that people were already worshipping gods. And he took these people there and he explained to them, and he talked about one God and everything. And as soon as he was absent from the place they were, these people went wild again. And he brought to us this idea of one God and his laws within this group of people. Because if you think about it, Jesus has sent us, obviously God has allowed, and Jesus has sent us many people to talk about God's laws and explain things to us. But mostly these people that came before Moses and before Jesus, they spoke to the people that were located on their area, which means they didn't speak to everybody. They spoke to a group of people, because at that time it would be impossible to explain everything they had to explain. So they start putting seeds in every place. So the prophets came and they spoke about Jesus coming. In other regions of the world, we had Siddhartha Gautama, we had other people that came to talk to their people. But then Moses comes and he talks to the Hebrew people. And the Hebrew people, according to Emmanuel, again on the same book, are one of the people, the group of people that came from Capella. They were exiled in that place. And they came to Earth to first because they needed to be expelled from that planet, because they were not at the same level of evolution of the people there, and therefore they were complicating the advancement of that planet. But they came to Earth, and because God is so just and so good, they came to this planet with their knowledge, everything that they knew, and they helped the people from this planet to advance. So the Hebrew people, or one of the 4 groups of people that came here, and they were the only ones that really understood one God. They had clearly understood the religious aspects of things and the laws of God. The only problem is that they kept it in a circle of people, the initiated people, and they did not divulge this knowledge to everybody. But they were the proper people to receive this information from Moses, and therefore that's why the first revelation came through Moses, right? So then we have this Mosaic law that we need to understand, and we have to separate what was necessary at that time for the people living in that region from the Ten Commandments that, even though it was brought into the Hebrew people, is accepted worldwide. I mean, even in other religions, this is a moral code that doesn't necessarily mean is Catholic, is Hebrew, is Spiritist. It doesn't have a religion specified that owns these Ten Commandments because it belongs to God. It's the God's law. So in other religions and in other places of the world, is accepted because it's the moral code of living, right? Then Moses brings to us the idea of one God. And interesting thing is that, and I'm not an Egyptologist, I'm not familiar with the timeline of things happening, but a certain point before Moses, Akhenaten, which was a pharaoh in Egypt, he decided after many centuries of believing in many gods, he decided to have one God, which was the disk sun. That was the first step, and obviously people were not prepared to see or to hear that. And there was a huge campaign against him. But then we have Moses coming and enforcing this understanding within the Hebrew people. And this is a spirit that was prepared and sent to us with this important mission that perpetuate to the years and years after that. Almost 1,600 years before Christ, more or less, 1,600 years. And God used this spirit to deliver this revelation to the people at that time that obviously did not understand fully what he was saying, but the teachings have endured all these years. He started helping us understanding some of the things that at that point was hidden by a veil that slowly and surely has been unveiled throughout this 2,000 years that we have been living since Jesus came. Then we have Jesus coming. And, here saying the battery is low. Sorry, let me just take this thing. Yeah, let me just take this thing up. So then we have 1,600, 1,500 years later, Jesus coming to us. And the interesting thing is that the other day I was listening to Divaldo Franco. It's a 2 minutes presentation. And I think that the cable is disconnected here. So I think this cable is disconnected. Maybe.
That's it.
The power, right?
Yeah.
So the other day I was watching this video from Divaldo from many years ago, because Divaldo was super young at the video. And this lady asks about if Jesus had to prepare himself to come to earth. It's an interesting question because reading the book from Mirames, the spirit Mirames, Francisco de Assis, he mentions that it was earth that had to prepare to receive Jesus. But then Divaldo has a different point of view that is very interesting. Because Jesus, being a perfect spirit, he had to prepare his psyche to be able to come and talk to us at our level of understanding. Can you imagine a perfect spirit knowing everything in the creation? And that's why he says, the Father and I, we are one. It's not because it's the same person, but because he understands completely the laws and everything that God wants from us. Comes to a planet where we were barely coming out of primitivism and talk to us in our language. That requires a lot, even for a perfect spirit. It makes a lot of sense. So Divaldo says that he had to prepare himself in that point of view, not because he needed, because of the body, because of that, but he had to lower his psyche to be able to talk to us. And that was his way of preparing himself to come to visit us. And that has been foreseen by the prophets and everybody that came before him. So with the birth of Jesus, there is a kind of direct communion between heaven and earth. We have here a perfect spirit, the creator of this planet, our governor, coming and bringing to us the understanding of God's laws and perfectly explaining to us. Like we said, God and Jesus was felt as one because Jesus can understand completely God, which for us is a long shot still. So strange and marvelous revelations perfumes the souls, and the envoy offers human beings all the greatness of his love, wisdom, and mercy. Contrary to the previous revelation that brought to us the Ten Commandments, but the law is still being enforced on the people at the time, what Jesus brings to us is love, is loving our neighbors, is forgiving those who commit anything that aggrieves us. So the forgiveness, and he explained to us that we need to work on ourselves first to be able to give to the others, right? So the understanding of the teachings of Jesus is that we cannot expect the planet to go into transition and becomes a new planet, a planet of regeneration. We cannot expect that the wars end and then we're going to be happy and live our lives happy. We need to start working in ourselves, because he brings to us the understanding that the kingdom of God is inside ourselves, it's not outside. And I cannot wait for the things outside to be repaired and changed. I have to start working on myself first. And by working on myself and changing the way I live my life and my feelings and my thoughts, I become a person that other people around me start looking at me and asking questions. Oh, why did Chris change it? Why is he acting that way? What is he doing? And we start calling attention of the people. And people that are prone to this change, they will see us and they will start questioning. And they will ask where we come from, what we are doing, and then they go and go to the same places we are and try to do the same things. This is the example that each of us have to do in our daily lives. We have to show people around us, not only incarnated, but a lot of them are on the other side looking at us, that we are doing our best to change the way we are. Our feelings, our thoughts, our conduct, our moral conduct, and that way we can exemplify in our limitation the same way as Jesus did at his time, obviously in his magnificent way. So a new flood of hope opens up the hearts and humanity in the manger, on Tabor, and on the Calvary, feels the manifestations of the heavenly life, sublime in its glorious spirituality. Jesus was the manifestation of God's love, the embodiment of his infinite goodness. It's unquestionable that what Jesus did for us was the greatest thing that we have received so far. It divided our planet before and after Jesus. Even though a lot of people don't recognize him, and some people in this planet still doesn't even know him, his passage through this planet was remarkable in all the senses. So in this passage that we see in Matthew chapter 5, versicles 17 to 18, Jesus says, "Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy them, but to fulfill them. For truly I say unto you, heaven and earth shall not pass away, till all that is contained in the law be fulfilled, while there remained one iota and a unique dot." So here he's saying that he didn't come to destroy whatever was taught before him. He just came to explain to us, to make it clear to us what was said and we could not understand. And one thing that is interesting in this passage, and a lot of people ask me when I talk about it in Spanish, Portuguese, or in English, that, okay, but what does he mean by Yoda? What does Yoda mean? Yeah? And Yoda is an interesting word because it has a Greek origin, And at his time in Hebrew, the meaning was yod, which is hand, we can say hand, but was a tiny character that is sometimes the scholars, they would just remove from the writings that character. And it was so small that it had no much importance, but it could change the meaning of the sentence. So by saying that, Jesus was saying that even the smallest details make a difference, and we would not evolve, and the planet would not evolve if not those minimum details would be fulfilled. Which means that there's no way for us to move forward if we do not work in ourselves in the minimal details of our existence. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm evolving, but as soon as something happens to us in the traffic, in the work, or anywhere else, right? Like Susanna said, it's not easy. I mean, we try to be better and things will happen. We realize that we still have a long shot to go. I was driving here this morning, and I was coming thinking about what I was going to say, and in one of the streets, the car in front of me just slammed the brakes, and I had like 2 seconds to step on the brake, and the first thing that came to me was like a bad word. I was like, oh my God, Chris, you're going to present a gospel, and the first thing that comes to you is that? You still have a long way to work in yourself. But that's true, because we are tested every single moment in our life to see if we really achieved, we really conquered these things that we have in ourselves that we bring with us in many existences before that. We had many lives, as we all know here. That's why we are in a Spirit Center, where we believe in reincarnation and we understand that we have lived before. But we are the result of all the previous lives, right? And with that, we bring with us many things from the previous lives. Feelings, habits, things that we unfortunately still bring with us that we have to work today. But today that we are here, that we are all sitting here and listening to this presentation, means that we are searching for the answers. We're looking into being better people. We are trying to understand everything to make sense to us, because the transformation will not happen if we do not understand it. That's why the doctrine of spirits, or the Spiritist doctrine, teaches us so much, because faith is based on understanding. The people that just believe because somebody tells them to believe, that's a faith that is based on sand. Because somebody told someone, you believe it on that. No, the base of faith has to be solid, has to be strong. We have to understand, we have to believe, we have to feel it in order to say, that's what I believe. And the only way for us to understand and to believe and to have sedimented this solid base is knowledge. Is studying the doctrines, is studying the books that Allan Kardec brought to us, and all the other books that was brought to us after that. Chico Xavier, in life, he published 400 and plus books. I understand that after he disincarnated, many more books were published. We have Divaldo, we have Raul, we have so many people, so many good people that brings to us this understanding in our words, in our time, easy for us to understand. So, like Jesus said and Matthew reported to us, not a thing will pass by until, all these things are fulfilled. We have to work hard on ourselves, because this planet is going through a big transition. It's not going to be a transition that is going to happen in 1 month, 1 year, or maybe a century. It's going to take a time. And people have to understand that, because if you look on this planet today, 8 billion people living in the same planet. Not mentioning the spirits that are waiting for their opportunity to reincarnate. We need to understand that all these people living in this planet are in different stages of evolution. If we look around us, we're going to see people that are closer to the beginning of the journey than to the next level, which is regeneration. So for our planet to be in that stage of evolution, it's necessary that most of the people are aligned with those understandings and vibrations. So it's a work that is in progress. It's going to take a while, But we have to work on ourselves because the time has come for us. And by the time has come for us, meaning that we don't have time to waste. If we don't do the best we can in this life to progress, to better ourselves, imagine that we're going to go back to the spiritual world and probably there are 5 people in line waiting for this opportunity to come back here. And then we're going to go back and say, oh my God, I was there. Why didn't I do what I was supposed to do? And then we're going to ask for another opportunity. And then we're going to have to go in line because 5 people are in front of us waiting for the opportunity. And that will take a time because imagine to organize, to put together places, people, situations, the programming of us returning, it's so complicated that will take a time. And for us here right now, we might not understand the magnitude of that, but as soon as we step out of this body, our spirit will understand that this opportunity was a great opportunity for all of us to evolve. So Christ was the initiator of the purest and most sublime morality. He brought to us the understanding of morality. The evangelical Christian morality that is to renew the world, bring men and women together and make them brothers and sisters. There is to enable charity and love for one's neighbor to blossom forth and in all human hearts and create a common solidarity amongst all humans. Immorality, in short, that is to transform the earth and make it a dwelling place for spirits more highly evolved than those inhabiting it today. Don't worry, more evolved than those inhabiting this today doesn't mean that it's not us. He's talking about us. But more morality, evolved in more morality means that we are progressing into that. We are going to be, hopefully, the ones that will be inhabiting this planet when this planet achieve the regeneration status. And imagine how grateful we'll be to have a planet where the good triumphs over evil. That we're not going to see brothers and sisters, countries fighting each other. We're not going to see the things that we are seeing today. And trust me, what we are seeing today is not because it's out of control, but it's the result of a transformation. Every time there is a transformation, it brings also this chaos. Because it's necessary for us to choose our side in the situation. So we have now many spirits that are returning to material world. They don't even know Jesus, but God is in His perfection, His love is giving opportunity to everyone. Every single spirit that inhabits this planet will have the opportunity to come and to try. And if they succeed, excellent, they will continue here. If they not, the law will take care of, just like it did before in many other places in the creation. But we are having the opportunity, and I would say, when Emmanuel says like the Kairos moment, and Arturo Valladares call it the golden second, right? Where we are facing options in our life, and we have to decide if I go to the left or to the right. I love the book 2000 Years, right? Where we have this passage that Publius Lentulus is in front of Jesus. He goes out because his daughter is sick, and he decided to, in the middle of the night, to look for that person that everybody says that makes miracles. And Jesus finds him. He doesn't find Jesus. Jesus finds him. And he has there the opportunity of a lifetime. Jesus invites him, but because he was a senator and all the things that he had in the politics and everything, he decided to not follow Jesus at that time. Imagine someone that has the opportunity to be in front of Jesus and take a decision that will change your life forever. Right? It's almost unimaginable, but that's what we have here right now. The Spiritist doctrine, or the doctrine of Spiritism, is bringing to us Jesus himself to us, in front of us, through the teachings, to the books, to the people that are talking to us. And he said, I'll be amongst you when 2 or more will gather together in my name. And that's what's happening right now. Obviously, he's not physically because he was incarnated in front of Publius Lentulus, but he's here in the spirit, which is much more for us, because he can be in front of all of us at the same time. And this is the opportunity that we have, an opportunity of a lifetime, to understand what these teachings are bringing to us, to understand the necessity of changing ourselves into better people, so we can continue the pace with this planet that soon, maybe a couple of centuries, I don't know, time is God's that decided, but soon we're going to be in a planet that good will prevail for all of us. So we have here the gospel and the future, right? The future of ourselves is through gospel. And there is still races and peoples who do not know him, do not know Jesus. In some places that we see nowadays with the media, I mean, we log into our phones or internet, and news and information is available in seconds. We see wars all over the country, all over the planet, I'm sorry. And some of these people, they don't even know Jesus, or they have no idea. If we stop to talk to them, they will look at us and say, "You're crazy." I have an interesting moment in my life that I was working in this company, and every time we had lunch together, people would ask me things. They would say, "Oh, Chris is a pastor." Whatever you want. I'm a pastor, whatever you want. But they would ask me questions, right? And I would answer, obviously, because that's the purpose of being a spiritist. We are here to answer questions when they are asked. We are not here to doctrinate everyone in the street. Those who doesn't want to listen or don't care about listening, their time will come one day. But we are here to answer the question of those that has those questions asked. And I would tell them what they were asking me, and this guy came to me and said, "I love to hear what you say. It's unfortunate that you don't understand anything that the Bible says, but I love what you say." So even though those people that don't understand at the same level that we do, for them, if they ask and we answer, remember, their spirit are listening. And the information will be there for them to, the day that they are ready to understand, that information will be available. How many people come to the center saying, "Oh, this is my first time, I was not a spiritist, but I watched this presentation and everything makes sense to me. I love what you guys said." And the person has never been in contact with spiritism before, because somehow, somewhere, that information was there in their subconscious. And by coming here, that information just came to light. So they do not ignore the law of love of his doctrine, because all men have received in the most remote planes of the orb the radiation of his merciful spirit through the inspired words of his messengers. Meaning that even though people don't know him and don't understand him, Jesus sends people everywhere in this planet, in all sorts of ways and all sorts of understanding, to talk to people, even those indigenous people that have never seen white people or anyone outside their space. Someone there will incarnate and talk about the things of nature, the powers of nature, and that is the beginning of understanding there is something greater than us for those spirits. And this is a journey that they're going to be following and their understanding. And the next time they come, they probably will incarnate in another place where their knowledge, their understanding will be broader and more efficient. So the gospel in the future. The gospel of the Divine Master will encounter the resistance of darkness for some time to come. And we are seeing this all over the place. Persecution of Christians, faiths against faiths. In Africa, I think it's Sudan, I'm not sure how many Christians have been killed because they don't understand or persecution. And this is the sign of times changing, right? Because at a point, we are looking at all these things that are happening, and we're going to say, I can't take it anymore, right? I cannot accept this kind of behavior. And the only way for us to change is to change ourselves. Because these people are not going to change from today to tomorrow. But we have to change ourselves, because if each one of us start changing, is one more person that is changed, is one more person that is providing examples, and our vibration is increasing this vibration in the planet, making it faster and easier for the transition to happen. So bad faith, ignorance, simony, and the empire of the force will conspire against it. And we are seeing, nowadays we cannot talk about Jesus. The governments are removing the 10 Commandments, and it's becoming harder and harder for us to talk about religion. We are seeing the family, in a way, is being disaggregated by what people are believing nowadays. So we are living in different and hard times. But these are all proofs that we are going through. These are the ways that we are being tested to see if we really have found in ourselves these understandings, these changes that are so necessary for us, or in the face of the easiest and the smallest difficulty, we're gonna fall, we're gonna just give up. And I urge all of you, never give up, because Jesus is with us all the time. We have the good spirits, the benefactors that are watching us, that are looking over us, and they need us to be in synchrony with them, with their love, with their knowledge, with their vibration, so we can be benefited from this. But if we, for whatever reason, revolt ourselves, if we give up on our quest of being a better person, in some way we kind of close this plug, and it's really hard for them to help us if we're not receptive, if we're not aligned with their vibrations. So never give up. Always fight for a better ourselves. So with that, once again, the blessed words of the Sermon of the Mount will be heard, and across the plains, the hills and the valleys, men will know the way, the truth, and the life. These are words said by Jesus himself, that he is the way, the truth, and the life, and nobody goes to God if not through him, through his teachings, through his examples, right? The time has come in which moral ideas must be developed. We are a generation of reason, right? And I understand that our time is almost finished, but we are the generation of reason. Information is available to us on our fingertips. The kids that are coming, they're reincarnating today, as if they come already with their iPads and their notebooks built in, because they know everything. This is the sign of times that show us that the time for us to change as society is now. Even though when we open the TV and we see many aberrations, we see the immoral things that everybody is so pleased to have now, because they believe that by doing so, they are fighting for their freedom, they're fighting for this or for that. I have always an analogy that I make that kind of exemplifies what's happening today. So we have a pendulum, right? And we have been living with this pendulum being held on the left for many, many generations. The left means the oppression, our parents being very, very strong with us, the society not accepting this, not accepting that. This is the left. What happened nowadays is that we forced so much that the pendulum got loose and went all the way to the right and is going back and forth, back and forth. Every time the pendulum is on the left, extreme left, or the extreme right, we are in the wrong place, because we are on the extreme of things. We need to find the middle of this pendulum. And the middle of this pendulum at this moment is not here right now, but is inside of us. What I mean is, we have to have the understanding that the family is the most important place that we are, is the place that we come, and Jesus and God and Jesus put us in this family with a purpose of evolving and repairing our mistakes from the past, and we are with the right people in the right place at the right time. So family is the most important thing. Morality. People nowadays, they look at morality and they laugh. But there is no evolution without morality. How can I look into my brother and think that he means nothing to me when my life depends on the others? We are not alone in this planet. We are our brothers and sisters, and we depend on each other. So this is the times that moral has to be developed. And Moses came to open the way for all of these teachings. Jesus continued to the work, and Spiritism shall finish it. I'm going to speed up because the time is gone. And a lot of people know me that I get carried away and I speak so much that sometimes they tell me, you have 45 minutes, I ended up 1 hour and a half. So, Spiritism is of divine order since it rests upon the very laws of nature. Unquestionable, Spiritism is not something new. It's not something that imitate other knowledges from the past. And at the Bezerra de Menezes the other day, I had someone coming to me and saying, after a seminar that we presented, that person said, oh, it's amazing how Spiritism has copied so much out of the Hinduism or Buddhism or whatever it was. And I told her, and I was like, what? And I said, well, it's not that Spiritism copied anything from any other understanding or doctrine. It's that Spiritism talks about God's law. And God's law always existed. Therefore, what Spiritism talks about is something that every other religion or doctrine should be talking to. It's not that we are copying anybody, that we are appropriating understandings from other people. Spiritism talks about the very, very laws of creation that always existed and will always exist. So it's not unique. It's just that Jesus sent to us the doctrine of Spiritism, because imagine if someone comes to earth today and say, oh, I'm the fourth revelation. Nobody would believe. We probably would arrest, or the governments would study, and God knows what they would do to someone like that. But the Spiritism comes through the spirits. If we close this center today, rest assured that another center will open a couple of blocks from here. If we shut someone that is talking about Spiritism, 2, 3, 4 more people will show up and continue to talk. The Spiritism has been expanded in the 4 corners of this planet, in most of the languages spoken in this planet. And if someone deviates from the principles, the base of the Spiritism, rest assured that the spirits will find a way to correct what was told, and find a way for that person to do not continue to disseminate wrong things. And to finish here, I bring to you Matthew again on chapter 11, verses 28 to 30, where he says, come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. By that, Jesus is saying that it's not that he's forgiving our sins, like the church says, or he's forgiving our bad choices from the past, from these lives and previous lives. But if we walk with him, if we walk on his teachings, following the gospel, obviously that it will be easy for us, because we have the understanding that if we're living the way we're living today, if we're facing the difficulties that we are facing today, is the result of our own decisions, is the result of everything that we have done in the past. And if we are looking for a better life in the future, this is the time for us to start planning, to start paving that road, so we have a better life next time. And for that, it's necessary that we do this knowledge of ourselves, that we know ourselves, that we pinpoint all the difficulties, all the points that needs to be changed in ourselves, and put in action, and make a difference, and start helping people, and start understanding that I cannot expect from others the things that I don't do myself. I have to do it first in order to be able to expect something for me. And Francis of Assisi, with his prayer, was magnificent on that. That I can love first, then I'll be loved. And that's the purpose of our existence. We are here to develop ourselves, to gather knowledge, to understand the laws, but to serve our brothers and sisters. Because I cannot expect to receive if I don't give. I cannot expect to be forgiven if I don't forgive. And that's what the doctrine of Spiritists spirits are bringing to us. I thank you for this opportunity. I hope that my presentation has brought to you some understanding, some incentive, and that we all find in ourselves the strength necessary for the changes that we are required to do at this moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. It was a great lecture, a great invitation, a great reminder of the amazing treasure that we have in our hands. And I think we all need from time to time to be reminded, right, what is the purpose of life. And, as it says in the third part of the Spirit's book, there's no happiness away from God's law. So that is the only path for happiness. So to understand that and to seek to fulfill those laws within our daily living. So thank you so much. Really appreciate you sharing. For you who are watching online, and for all of us here, we're going to the second part of our meeting now, the passes. So we're going to turn off the light. We'll do here first in this room, and once we're done, we'll do the kids. Okay? So we'll do a quick prayer, just taking a moment to transition from this place of listening and understanding to a place of openness, surrender, quietness, so that we can feel in our hearts, in our spirits, the blessings that are to be shared and given to us. We ask our benefactors to lean over us, to help the ones who are giving, to help the ones who are receiving, and to all of us to be consciously aware of this moment of love and healing. Thank you, and so be it. So we come to the end of our meeting, and we'll take a moment to say once more, thank you, dear Father, for the blessings of today. As we all struggle and have our moments of fatigue and weakness and disconnection, we ask you to kindly watch over us and provide us with the intuition and the blessings and the light in the moments of darkness. Help us to focus on our mission, which is our own selves, as the best way to contribute to a better world. Help us to develop little by little kindness, gentleness, so that the world will one day be a more peaceful place, a reflection of our own inner world, a place of inclusion, of freedom, of responsibility, of love. We ask you for ourselves, for our family members, for our loved ones. We ask you for our homes. May your peace be there. And as we ask for ourselves, we ask for all the people who are in need, particularly the ones who find themselves in darkness and hopelessness, who have not yet found purpose for their lives, who experience every day a deep sense of void and scarcity. May your love touch their hearts and souls. May they see as we see purpose, and find in this purpose the resilience, the reasons, and the hope to pass forward. Again, we are very thankful for this small place of prayer, adoration, that helps us to reconnect each week. We are grateful for everything. Bless us all, and so be it. All right, my dear friends, thank you so much. Thank you to watch us, who have watched us today. We come to the end of our meeting.